You're about to listen to a short excerpt from The Fight, a frank discussion, strategy, and plan for working on desire.
Here's a question that requires understanding. If you ever get to a point where you're really serious about working on yourself, really serious about conquering desire, you'll start noticing some funny things. It's almost like there are forces working against you, and the reality is that is 100% accurate and correct. Hashem created the Satan. The Satan is a malach, an angel whose job it is to be on your case 24/7, 364. And one of the questions a thinking person should ask is, who needs him? Why did Hashem create him? And when you understand the human being, you can understand why Hashem created the Satan. As the Chovos HaLevavos explains, Hashem made us out of two very diverse parts. There's a part of me, a pure neshama, that only wants to do what's right, good, and proper. Within me, there's a nefesh bahami that only desires what it was created to desire. Those two are in constant battle, constantly fighting for primacy, constantly fighting for control over me. One or the other is always becoming more powerful, and one or the other is vanquishing the opposite side. And life always is a battle. Either the seichel, the neshama, becomes stronger, or the nefesh bahami becomes stronger. The human being is ever in flux. And that, if it could be, presents one of the greatest dilemmas. What happens if? What if a person, from the time he comes to some level of understanding, listens to his neshama, listens to that voice inside that tells him what's right and good and proper? He'll grow and grow and grow. His neshama will become more and more powerful. The nefesh bahami will become weaker and weaker. He might have started at 50-50, but then after a while it becomes a 60-40, 70-30, 80-20, 90-10, and at a certain point, after not many years, there'll be no reason for him to be on this planet. You see, if a human being isn't tempted, there's no reason for life. Life is supposed to be a battle, and we're given reward for resistance, for growing, for accomplishing. But if a person ever got to the point where his seichel was so powerful, his neshama came so to the fore, that the nefesh bahami, animal soul, had no sway, there'd be no purpose in life. At 15, at 16, he'd check out of life, he's done his job. The Rishonim explain that what Hashem did was to create another force to be something to even out the playing fields. The Satan is a malach who's given very little control normally. He's allowed to chepper, he's allowed to bother us from the sidelines, and if we're 50-50, he's allowed a little bit of sway, a little bit of power. But if a person grows and he becomes 60-40, then the Satan is allowed more control. He's allowed to fill in that gap. And if a person gets to 70-30, the Satan is allowed even more control. The Satan is always there to keep an even playing field. And the greater person, the greater his Yetzer Hara. The Gemara tells us, Misha Gadol Mechaveru, Yitzro Gadol Mechaveru, one who's greater than his friend, his Yetzer Hara is greater. And does that mean Tanoim had uncontrollable Nefesh Bahami? Certainly not. They were Malachim, they were angels in the form of men. But because they were so great, their Satan was allowed to operate at tremendous capacities, and if we were ever faced with that, we'd be crushed. But understanding that his job is to keep an even playing field, to always keep the challenge going, allows me to understand what he's doing, to understand why Hashem created him, and understand who I'm fighting against.
You've been listening to a short excerpt from The Fight, a frank discussion, strategy, and plan for working on desire. The Fight, as well as many other series, are available at theshmooze.com or on the Shmooze app for iPhone or Android.